Hello, welcome to Puget Sound Life. Those familiar with the channel will know I bought a 1970 GMC 4500 ramp truck so I can haul cars that I buy. I bought this truck without hearing it run or seeing it move. It cost me $1,200 for the truck and $1,500 to get it towed 81 miles to my house. Fortunately, I hooked up a gas can to it and got it running. The spark plug should have been gapped at 35 thousandths, but 6 had no gap and 2 were at about 60 thousandths. I was happy to see this truck had the original distributor swapped with an electric HEI unit, so no points to clean. I put a new fuel filter on it, put a hose in my gas can, dumped some gas in the carburetor, had to start it off the starter because the ignition switch was bad. It popped off and wanted to run. I dumped more gas in, and it started and ran. Then I noticed gas dumping out of the carburetor, which told me the float was bad or the needle was stuck open. So, time to rebuild. My carburetor is a Rochester 2-jet. The number is 7040123. The 70 means it was made by Rochester. The 4 means it was made between 1970 and 1975. The 0 means it was made in 1970. The 1 means it's a 2-jet, and the 2 means it was put on a Chevy engine. The 3 means it was installed on a vehicle with a manual transmission. Looks like it's the original carburetor. I ordered a kit as well as a brass float to replace the foam one from eBay and waited. As I waited, I tore it apart and soaked it in a can of carb cleaner. When I took it apart, I noticed the accelerator pump had lost its rubber. Still had its spring, but the rubber was stuck in the pump hole. I also noticed the float had soaked up old gas as I expected. There was also a vacuum cap that was all cracked that I had to replace. Okay, so there's your accelerator pump hole. If you see this hole here with the little slice in the side, that hole has to have this little ball in it. There's the old one on the left, new one on the right. Then this spring goes in it on top of the ball, and this little T thing holds it all in there. This isn't relevant. So here's the old ball. I'm gonna set it aside. Gonna put the new ball in. Gonna push it down just a little. Then we're gonna stick a spring in it, and then we're gonna put that T right above it. I didn't take the ball out prior to dipping it, which was a mistake. By dipping it, I mean I had this carburetor sitting in carburetor cleaner in a can. Okay, so we want to put this ball in that little hole. Did it make it? Looks like it's in there. Then, then we're gonna, they say to push it down with something brass so it doesn't get injured. Well, I don't have anything brass here. So, I think I will use this rod that holds the float on. Just to make sure it's in there. We're going to put this spring right in that hole. And this T holds the whole thing in place. Okay, well, I'm going to go and put this camera down. Okay, here we are. I'm back. I replaced these, or I put these 2 jets back in. There's no gaskets on them. You just go ahead and screw them in. They have a little number on them. if you look at it under a magnifying glass, I'm not sure we can get it here. I should have looked at it properly, man. Anyway, mine say 66. That's 66 thousandths. That's what you would get if you wanted to get bigger jets. You go in, maybe just get the next step up and try it. That's the power valve down there. Mine doesn't want to come out, which is not necessarily good because I'd like to make sure it's all clean into there. But see, it moves. The valve itself moves freely. I got a blood blister on my knuckle that I didn't even notice I had. Anyhow, so no gaskets on those, they just screw in. Finish putting this Venturi on. Make sure you get the special screw in the center hole, and make sure you get a gasket on it. No gaskets on these two outer screws, just on the center one. I know my hands are screwed up. I don't need to hear comments about it, but you can leave them if you really want, because like Trump once said, any publicity is good publicity. This hole is pretty clean. My accelerator pump rubber was literally stuck to it. I had to scrape it off with my fingernails. I got it to come off. Anyway, gonna go a little more on this and I'll get back. Okay, got the float. You gotta just hook this little metal clip around it so it'll pull it up and out. It doesn't have to pull it by much. Never push down on this float and shove that needle into that seat. You'll screw up the rubber tip. Now I put this pin in. I don't know why they made these pins so long, but I put this pin in just to get the float set up so I could give you a view of what it looked like. But on this particular model, you have to put the gasket on first and then put this pin through. So anyway, I'm getting to that, and we will see in a few minutes.